Hi, I'm Deborah Alicia and welcome to my channel. If you're returning, thanks for the love, and I hope that the information I share by way of my spiritual growth inspires you on your journey. If anything resonates, please like and also subscribe if you desire to be notified when I upload new content. What has helped me in decoding lyrics spiritually is my ability to go beyond the surface. In doing so, it has allowed me to see mentally the subconscious working of the mind of men. Although not deliberate, the words they choose to use speaks volumes to a divine connection. However, they're not aware when their life is lived in the reverse. When life is lived in the reverse, men and women alike are more impressed with outward manifestations, as if that which takes place within isn't tangible. In my spiritual walk, my cycles of growth have brought forth many tangible experiences and have been very satisfying. Not because they brought me first and foremost physical health, wealth, and prosperity, but it gives me something I can truly see beyond this physical plane, that which is indeed impacted by what I am able to see in my mind's eye. The song entitled My, written by BabyFace and Daryl Simmons, came to me. I was tickled because it speaks to romance, which is something I'm just not entertaining at this time in my life. So of course, I had to hear the matter further from a spiritual perspective, and I'm really glad that I did, because there was so much to chew with just the first verse. And that is the focus of this decoding. So the first verse goes, My, you look so sweet. Listen, put on your red dress and slip on your high heels and some of that sweet perfume. It sure smells good on you. So let me bring you into my world, because there is a lot going on in my mind of mine. It is clear by simply reading the first verse, there is a possessiveness, a sense of belonging due to an observation that is pleasing to a man's eye. So much so, he is moved to describe the woman as pleasing in general. And I assume in her casual estate, because he will speak on an adorning thereafter that he desires or wants her to experience. This adorning begins with a red dress. Now, out of all the options of colors, the writers choose red. Carnally speaking, red speaks to sex, passion, lust, you name it. But spiritually, it speaks to the root chakra. Did you know the meaning of dress in the 13th century was to make or set straight, to arrange troops, equipment, etc. in a straight line and at proper intervals, before the well-known from the late 14th century to decorate, adorn, as to put on clothing? So, do you think it's a coincidence that the words red and dress was used to describe the beginning of this engagement portrayed to please this man's eyes? Especially in light of the root chakra and its meaning as it pertains to a word and manner in which it is expressed. As to say, the writers chose a red dress simply because it's hot and sexy? If so, my spiritual decoding will take you beyond what is typically seen on the surface as we dive deep into the spiritual psyche of man, that which is always present whether they are aware of it or not. Quick disclaimer, My decoded lyrics are my own and are understood by way of my spiritual growth and do not reflect the perspective of the songwriters and or artists. So the first line states, put on your red dress. Spiritually speaking, a divine masculine desires the feminine to establish her root chakra. In doing so, it is the beginning of their divine union. Since this is a man's admonition to a woman, we are decoding the spiritual meaning accordingly. It can be reversed if the song portrayed a woman singing to a man. The point here is that the adorning speaks to a divine union taking place between the masculine and feminine principles. Carnally, we are familiar with men making it clear to a woman he is interested in that she is naturally beautiful. But she is encouraged not to take his compliment in regards to her adorning herself as a diss against her natural beauty. It seems he can't help but admire the adorning of her natural beauty when she makes herself more attractive through enhancements, like dressing up or putting on heels, for example. Furthermore, he is proud to have her by his side. It's the same spiritually. The divine masculine and the divine feminine principle work cohesively. So what he experiences, she does too, and vice versa. Spiritually, within us, the masculine nor the feminine work solo. If so, that mourning is not taking place within the feminine. I'm sorry, that adorning, my bad. Which is reflected in the masculine's principle inability to manifest what the feminine principle understands, because in this case, it's most likely unclear. It's no coincidence when men want to feed women in the physical realm. It's not that he subconsciously wants you to gain weight in the effort to make you unattractive to other men. This is his attempt at adorning the feminine principle wrongfully, attributing that to someone in the flesh and not within him. The same is true when a man wants to spoil a woman, thinking this is a reflection of what is taking place within him, only to be left dissatisfied because our spiritual growth is an enhancement that takes place within, whether we have a physical partner or not. So, establish your root chakra. In other words, put on that red dress, girl. Divinely, it is sexy in the sense that it is becoming of the feminine principle in her highest form. Let's address this higher form as it pertains to the root chakra. To put on a dress is to put on a piece of clothing. The word dress derives from the French word garment, meaning equipment. To put on that red dress spiritually means to prepare oneself for the equipping. But what are we being equipped for? Divine union, of course. This is the only union whereby the fruit of the Spirit is born. Alignment that comes by way of divine union can be likened to fallopian tubes. Just as damaged or blocked fallopian tubes lead to infertility or ectopic pregnancy, implantation, which is implantation of the embryo outside of the uterus, so also misalignment or the incorrect arrangement or position of the root chakra as it relates to the rest of the primary chakras leads to barren fruit of the Spirit, or pretending to bear the fruit of the Spirit by trying to align things outside of us, right? With regards to relationships, children, our profession, etc. Emphasis on the root chakra is deliberate. It sets the precedence for the effective alignment. It makes for the rise of the Kundalini without interruption. The Kundalini is a powerful, latent energy, a spiritual life force that resides, coiled at the base of the spine, which is the root chakra. It is described as coiled because of its spring-like effectiveness, like a coiled up serpent. This rise of this powerful life force energy at the root chakra is what leads to spiritual growth and enlightenment due to the spiritual fertility that alignment creates. So the direction to put on a red dress in this song is a spiritual admonition to prepare for straightening, from a crawling on the belly, if you will, to making one's spine straight, upright. So the root chakra, as a base energy center to other primary chakras, which are other energy centers, can be firm. It is what makes our spine well supported for spiritual development and growth. If an individual has no backbone, meaning this person is spineless, weak, cowardly, or lacking determination, it is safe to say that their root chakra has yet to be effective. It has yet to be effective or successful in producing its intended result, which is to serve as a base that founds the strength, fearlessness, and determination of the other 6 primary chakras to reach the crown chakra, to reach the 7th and highest chakra, the gateway to divine downloads. This reach can be likened to a man's climax after a momentum of emotion or locomotion. The Kundalini can be likened to semen or cervical fluid, which travels through the respective reproductive organs. A straightening equips for penetration. When that powerful life force energy at the base of our spine reaches the top of our spine, we are erecting and equipped to receive from the Most High, because our life force energy, like these fluids previously mentioned, provides the fluidity necessary for transmutation. The transmutation refers to the act of changing the downloads we receive in our mind's eye into the tangible fruits of the spirit, which can be likened to the birthing process. This is why the root chakra is so important, because we can't get to that consummation in the spirit to bear its fruit without the establishment of this chakra. It is what our alignment is built on. So if any of the other 6 primary chakras are deemed imbalanced, it is because of the effectiveness of the root chakra is misunderstood, and one is paying attention to the symptoms of that. The Most High will never bring our attention to the symptoms of an unestablished root chakra. Our attention instead is drawn to the establishment of the root chakra, so the bearing of its fruit is light due to all parts that assist in that process functioning properly, because its foundation is firm. If we insist on adorning a weak foundation, our feminine principle will turn the focus of our masculine principle to superficial pursuits. Sounds familiar, huh? Which will weaken the will, because these pursuits will not bring the feminine principle the satisfaction she was designed to experience, because she will not be able to birth the fruits of the spirit. Instead, she will be barren. So, we'll stop here, and we will continue with the rest of the lyrics if I'm led to do so in the future. Also, I would like to take this time to share a quick download I received today on my way out, expounding further on my download entitled Divinely Unbothered. It came after reminding myself of why we are touched by others' evil doing, whereby we become agitated or bothered. My spirit team reminded me, in light of the my decoding, that expecting those who are out of alignment to express the fruit of the spirit can be likened to expecting a drunk driver to drive like a sober person. Their drunkenness doesn't make it right, but at least there is understanding to know why it's happening. As far as the laws of the land are concerned, we know it's just a matter of time before they are policed for driving drunk. The same is true in the spirit. Fallen angels or angels are commissioned for arrested development. So this is what we are witnessing in their evil behavior when accompanied by a drive to try to provoke us. They have already been arrested in spirit, which is demonstrated in their inability, as discussed in this download, to what? Bear the fruit of the spirit, right? So that concludes this download. Please feel free to like and leave a comment if any of this information resonated with you. If it brought you clarity, I would love to hear how. And please don't forget to subscribe to be notified of my latest content. And until next time, peace.